WECT News begins now with breaking news.
We're confident that these seemingly unrelated incidents are actually the work of this one individual who is now succumbed to injuries and is no longer alive.
Thank you for joining us tonight on WECT News at 6. A two-day crime spree has now ended. The suspect shot and killed by law enforcement in Wilmington. Investigators suspected the man to be behind 4 shootings and a kidnapping across New Hanover County. Law enforcement says all of it started Thursday late afternoon when the man shot into a home on Dixie Avenue in Wilmington. About an hour later, a drive-by shooting on Lake Avenue in the city seriously injured a 54-year-old woman. The man then involved in a kidnapping and shooting today afternoon at a home in Wrightsville Beach. And then the spree ended by law enforcement shooting and killing the man on Market Street around 1 o'clock. Let's give you a live look now at Market Street near New Center Drive, which remains closed at this hour, several hours after that deadly shooting happened. We have team coverage on this still developing story. WECT's Ashley Balsavius is in Wrightsville Beach, where the shooting and kidnapping happened. And WECT's Mara McJilton is on Market Street, where law enforcement shooting killed the suspect. And we're going to start with Mara. Now, Mara, you've been there for several hours now, and there's a lot to go over here. Walk us through how this all unfolded.
Yeah, John, well, first I want to start out with saying that District Attorney Ben David actually called in the SBI to complete this investigation and determine if the use of force was justified in this case. Now I'm going to step out of the way and give you a better look at the scene here. Still a very active scene with law enforcement investigators, multiple agencies here investigating. We were just looking at the evidence markers. There are at least 50 between the street, on the sidewalks. So there is still a lot for these investigators to go over. Now, this string of random acts of violence in our community started with a shooting around 5 o'clock yesterday on Dixie Avenue. About an hour later, there was a drive-by shooting on Lake Avenue near Roland Grice Middle School. One woman was seriously hurt in that drive-by shooting. And just after 12 o'clock this afternoon, another shooting and kidnapping happened in Wrightsville Beach. Wilmington police officers and New Hanover County Sheriff's deputies spotted the suspect in this area of Market Street where I am now. Now, officers attempted a pit maneuver near the Academy Sports Store, but the suspect got away. A Wilmington police car ended up in a retention pond there. Other officers and deputies kept pursuing the suspect for about a block. That's when these events unfolded here on Market Street.
He ended up crashing into a civilian vehicle at the intersection of Lennon and Market. At some point during this, he displayed a firearm towards our law enforcement officers. He exited the vehicle, shots were fired, and our brave officers and deputies from the New Hanover County Sheriff's Department and the Wilmington Police Department did what they had to do to make this community safe. Unfortunately, the suspect died and succumbed to his injuries.
Well, as you can see behind me, still crime scene tape up on both sides of the street. Still a very active scene for investigators to complete this investigation. I'm told to expect this portion of Market Street to stay shut down for several more hours. Live in Wilmington, Mara McJilton, WECT News.
And now we're going to take you to Wrightsville Beach, where police say the suspect took part in a shooting and a kidnapping after noon today. Now, this all went down on Scotch Bonnet Lane off North Lumina Avenue. That's at the north end of Wrightsville Beach. A lot of rumors circulated on social media, and calls came into our newsroom about what happened here. Well, we've confirmed no active shooting situation happened at the nearby Holiday Inn Resort. Well, WECT's Ashley Balsavius has reported from the scene in Wrightsville Beach all day long now, and she's live at this hour. Ashley, this is an area that doesn't see a lot of crime. Understandably, a lot of people are concerned about what went on there today.
That's right, John. Earlier today, I spoke with a man who said he's lived in Wrightsville Beach for 8 years and has never seen anything like this. Earlier today, said he did not hear the gunshots, but he never would have even suspected that it's something he would have heard. Now, I'm standing right now in front of the house where earlier today a cleaning woman was assaulted and zip-tied. In the past hour or two, I've watched as law enforcement has mostly cleared out of the area and the yellow police tape has been taken down. Also, the street Scotch Bonnet Lane lane was closed earlier today, but now it is back open. Now, earlier today, the police department had a press conference to answer some of the questions that the public has had. Take a look.
Wrightsville Beach Police Department responded to several different calls for service, and as can be expected in the early stages of a rapidly evolving event, it was confusing whether or not there were actually shots being fired and exactly where those shots were being fired and whether or not anyone was injured.
Now, we've learned today that the only victim besides the suspect himself was the cleaning lady. Luckily, those children that the cleaning lady brought with her to this home earlier today were not injured, thanks to bystanders on the beach who helped out. And we'll continue to keep you updated on this incident. Back to you in the studio, John.
All right, Ashley Balsavius live in Wrightsville Beach. Ashley, thanks. Now, we have followed this story all day, on the air and online. Our crews in the field will continue to gather more information, look for more witnesses to what happened. We're going to continue to keep you updated here on our newscasts on air and on WECT.com and our mobile news app. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen. Turn on notifications, and you'll get those new details as soon as we do. Now, that breaking news played out not far from the UNCW campus as thousands of incoming students took part in Move-In Day. WECT's Ava Brendgord was on campus for Move-In Day, then went back to hear from families as the breaking news unfolded just down the road. Ava, you talked to them. What were their thoughts on everything that had transpired in the city?
Well, John, the feeling on campus was much different than it was this morning. News of the shooting spread to students and parents from alerts on their cell phones. They also heard about it through social media. This year, UNCW has a record number of freshmen on campus. It was a hectic day, regardless of what else was happening. Family, friends, and volunteers all on hand to help 2,500 students settle into their new homes. Even then, today's events weren't exactly the Wilmington welcome students and parents anticipated.
I am concerned being the day that, my son moved in as a freshman into the dorm, but we come down to Wilmington all the time. I know it's a safe area, so we feel very comfortable with our kid coming to school here. It's just very unfortunate that we're seeing shootings like this, but really not too concerned, particularly here on campus.
So I spoke with several parents, and this seems to be the general feeling among all of them. They're of course worried, but feel like their kids are safe at UNCW. For more information on UNCW Move-In and breaking news, you can visit our website. Ava Brendgord, WECT News.
A gorgeous summer day across southeastern North Carolina. Want to welcome back Surf City to our round of West Shore Home First Alert Skycams. Big shout out to our engineers Bob and Ray for getting that camera replaced and now up and running. It is gorgeous along the coastline. Note the yellow flags flying, a moderate risk of rip currents along our eastern facing shores the rest of the night. Temps upper 80s to around 90 degrees, even some lower 90s back up in Fayetteville. We'll dip back into the 70s, looking picture perfect for Friday night football. Is the weekend going to feature much the same tone? I'll let you know. 7-day forecast coming up later on in the broadcast.
The quest for championships starts tonight. The high school football season begins across the state of North Carolina. And WECT's Zach Solon is at Hoggard High with a look at what we can expect during the 2023 Friday night football season.
We're less than an hour from kickoff of what should be an exciting first week of the high school football season. Matchups taking place across North Carolina involving our local teams. Right here at Hoggard High School, the Vikings getting ready to take on Cleveland. Hoggard is coming off a year on which it finished 8-4 after their quarterback Hudson Wilharm was injured during the middle of the year, but he is back and ready to go this year, hoping to bring home a Mid-Eastern Conference championship in his senior campaign. You might remember the Vikings came up just short last year, and it was New Hanover who came away with the MEC crown. New Hanover will be on the road tonight up in Greenville, taking on J.H. Rose. Plenty of other schools in action. You've got Laney with their new running back, Tyjair Crudup, the transfer from Ashley, looking to show what he can on the field. Here's a look at a couple of other games happening in our area tonight. Trask hosts Rocky Mount Prep. You've got two Columbus County schools in action at home, as South Columbus and West Columbus will play at home tonight. You've also got two Brunswick County schools at home. North Brunswick will host East Bladen, and West Brunswick will play a team from across the state border, Carolina Forest, making the trip up tonight. These two teams have matched up a couple of times in the past few years. We'll see who takes this round tonight. There's really just a football buzz across southeastern North Carolina this time of year. We're still over a week away from the official start of the school year, but I'm sure plenty of students and fans will be out enjoying the games tonight. You can catch all the highlights tonight at 11 during Friday Night Football. But for now, reporting from Hoggard High School, Zach Solon, WECT News.
Don't look now, but another bill is about to go up. But you can save some cash on car insurance. Won't even take you 15 minutes to do it.
You're watching WECT News at 6.
It seems like the cost of just about everything is going up, and that includes how much you pay for car insurance. Your auto insurance rates here in North Carolina are going to go up by 9% over the next 2 years. WECT's Raina Crooms looking into those rate increases for us. And Raina, you're hearing there's really not one reason for this price hike.
Right. State officials today who say the rate increases are impacted both by the economy and drivers.
The price of car insurance is going up for all North Carolina drivers.
Mainly the way people drive, and inflation is hurting everybody. You see inflation causing all prices to go up.
Mike Causey is the insurance commissioner for North Carolina. He says back in February, the North Carolina Rate Bureau requested to raise auto insurance by 28%. They eventually agreed that rates will increase 4.5% in December of 2023 and another 4.5% in December of 2024. And drivers are partly to blame.
The number one factor that is putting the most pressure on our automobile insurance rates is distracted driving, using the cell phone, texting and driving, and we see it every day.
He said those accidents mean insurance companies pay out more, meaning raising rates. But there are ways to save money.
So one of the important things to know is what coverages you have currently. You need to be aware of your deductibles. Is the mileage written correctly for you annually? Are you taking advantage of all the discounts?
Discounts are also sometimes provided through apps offered by insurance companies, like Snapshot from Progressive and DriveWise with Allstate. But Carter says the number one way to save money is to simply pay attention to the road.
Don't text and drive. Be safe, right? So your future rates depend on the experiences that you have now. So make sure that you're paying attention to the safety rules on the road. That'll help you.
Helping you protect other drivers and your wallet.
Safe driving does come with a price. Driving apps are able to track things like speed and how often you're driving. The best way to keep your rates as low as possible is to find an agent near you. Raina Crooms, WECT News.
Hard to believe Friday Night Football is back and the weather pretty nice. A little on the warm side, of course. Is the weekend going to fare just as nice? I've got those answers for you after the break.
Here's Gabe Ross with your First Alert forecast.
Shaping up to be a pretty nice weekend across southeastern North Carolina. Obviously, these summer weekends not lasting forever, only a couple of weeks away from Labor Day weekend. Boating, grilling, school shopping even, should be a pretty decent time to do a lot of that. Only concerns at the beach would be any elevated risk for rip currents. Your surf temps mainly in the middle 80s. Yard work, best to do first thing in the morning. Take a break, heat of the afternoon, or at least stay hydrated. Gusty showers and storms not likely, but a couple pop-ups may send you inside ever so briefly. Middle and lower 70s tonight. A stray shower. Typically this time of year we keep at least a 10% chance of rain on the board. No difference here. Some isolated fog a possibility, but you shouldn't run into too many issues first thing in the morning. Some lower 90s mixing in among a general upper 80s rule. Sunny and toasty, and that's normal for mid to late August, that time frame that we're in effectively right now. West Shore Home First Alert sky cams, 7 of the 8 locations reporting in, including Surf City. Once again, thanks to the engineers for getting that up and running for us again. Temps middle and upper 80s to about the 90-degree mark in some spots. The radar is quiet though, so kickoffs taking place here within the next hour or so. Not going to run into any issues. Sunset a little bit before 8 o'clock tonight, so sun sunglasses a must. You might even consider a little bit of sunscreen if you're heading out there in the next little bit. 80s converting back to 70s tonight. A few upper 60s trying to mix in off to the north. But notice the separation between air temperature and what it'll feel like outside. That number in orange on your screen, not all that substantial compared to where it's been earlier, especially in the week. Some sea breeze, showers and storms a possibility, and we start maybe a couple degrees warmer in spots for your Sunday, but a very similar song and dance with upper 80s. But notice the feels like temperatures a little higher, middle and upper 90s. That's because dew points, relative humidity, all going to be on the up and up. The tropics, of course, heating up as well. 4 areas of interest here. The highest development odds right now would be of Invest 98L, medium to high odds. That happens in the next 2 to 7 days. We're also watching the western Gulf of Mexico too. WECT.com/hurricane is the place to get ready for when the tropics heat up, and we're getting very close to that statistical peak. Let's take a look at the 3-day forecast and go out to the next 7. We've got low rain chances primarily, John, in this stretch of time, but nothing below that 70-degree mark. Daily highs at times reaching the lower 90s, but starting to trend a little lower by the end of next week.
And we are continuing our efforts tonight to clear the shelters, focusing on animals up for adoption in the 5 counties across southeastern North Carolina. WECT's Kim Ratcliffe talked with the folks at the Brunswick County Animal Shelters.
Shelters tend to get a bad rap. They're often seen as bad places and the last place you'd want an animal to end up, but they have changed a lot over the years. The Brunswick County Animal Shelter, like several others, is now under the guidance of the Sheriff's Office and is now called the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office Animal Protective Services. The deputies that work at the shelter also answer calls about possible neglect. A big part of their job is educating the public.
We reach out to these people and try to educate them on what is required and what is needed to take care of the animals. But there is some heartbreaking times where the animals are not taken care of like they should, and it does take a toll on us here at the shelter because the team that is here is very concerned and very caring and very passionate about what they do.
If you're looking to adopt a dog, this is Peach, and she's up for adoption at the Brunswick County Animal Shelter. She came in as a stray about a week ago. I'm told she's extremely gentle, laid back, and she's done great with the other dogs at the shelter. And just look at that sweet face. This beautiful girl is a 5-year-old lab. Older dogs, you know, they are great to adopt. You don't have to go through a puppy phase, and oftentimes they're overlooked. I can tell you personally, I adopted a 7-year-old dog a little over a year ago, and he has been an awesome addition to our family. So please consider adopting Peach. You can tell by her face, she's hoping someone will take her home. She talks with her eyes. If you'd like to adopt Peach, she's at the Brunswick County Animal Shelter. They're open weekdays from 10 to 5 and Saturdays from 10 to 2. You can also give them a call at 910-754-8204. And you can find a detailed list of all the shelters and rescue groups participating, as well as some of the animals we've featured. Just look for Clear the Shelters on your WECT News app and the community section of WECT.com. Remember, some of the shelters and rescue groups are waiving or reducing adoption fees this month. Kim Ratcliffe, WECT News.
And we're going to recap now the breaking news that our team has covered here on the air and online. New Hanover Sheriff's deputies and a Wilmington police officer shot and killed a 35-year-old man just a few hours ago. Investigators say that man is a suspect in 4 separate crimes. The first happened Thursday around 5 in the afternoon when someone fired shots into a home on Dixie Avenue in the city. About an hour later, a drive-by shooting on Lake Avenue seriously injured a 54-year-old woman. Afternoon today, a cleaning woman was zip-tied, kidnapped, and assaulted in a home on Scotch Bonnet Lane in Wrightsville Beach. She escaped by running onto the beach and getting help from people there. The suspect drove to Wilmington, where police and deputies tried to stop him on Market Street near Van Campen Boulevard. They say the man started shooting and the officers returned fire, killing the man at the scene. Law enforcement and the district attorney's office have identified the man as William Brent Gilmore, a 35-year-old. involved in the crimes in Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach. Watch for continuing coverage here on air and on WECT.com.